There was one thing that I did that boosted my productivity about tenfold. And it's honestly, it's helped me a lot, especially like on like adding on to what I've talked about last week, which is adding more urgency to my life. And it's something so simple, but I know a lot of people tend to, it doesn't help them, or for instance, they're just too intimidated by it, right? Because it is pretty intimidating when you're just looking at it from the sense of like looking at someone else do it and you're like, whoa, that's too much for me, right? And so going straight into it, that thing is pretty much scheduling out my day. And that is so freaking simple. And this isn't a thing of like, I cracked the code or whatever, I'm the most productive person on the planet. No, absolutely not. It's more of the sense of like, this has really been helping me out. So if you haven't been doing it, why not try it? And I'm just going to go into like how I do it and whatnot. And actually, the way I kind of started doing this, because before how my life really was, it's like kind of the day would just go on and I just do whatever I thought I needed to. Right. And then a lot of times, and so many times, I wouldn't really get the things I know I should have get done, because like in the morning, you think that you need to do something. Let's say laundry, for instance. But as the day goes on, you forget. As because things pile on, you're doing a lot of different things, and then guess what? You forget what the heck you're supposed to do. And so with actually scheduling my days and whatnot, it actually puts that as a reminder for me so that I know that I'm supposed to be doing these certain activities to stay productive in the house that I'm in, to stay productive at work, all that jazz, right? And stay on track with my own growth too. Here's how I actually got started doing this, which wasn't kind of time blocking, what I do now, but what I did before was something very, very simple to make sure that I actually was on track to doing this, which was writing a simple to-do list. I literally would just open up my journal for that day, right? And then I'd just make a checklist of all the things I needed to do that day. And I would make a checklist in the morning because that's where my mind is the freshest. That's where I know the things I need to get done today, right? And so at that point, I would just, as I'm going along the day, I would mark it off, mark it off, mark it off, giving you that little bit of a dopamine hit, right? But it helped me a lot in the sense of just like giving me a sense of reward and actually keeping me on track to reminding myself like, oh, I need to do these things. And then once I'm done, I get the satisfaction of checking that off. And then at the end of the day, I see almost everything checked off or everything checked off, which is honestly really great. And I kept that up for, let's say, 3 to 4 months, right? And I kept continually doing that. It started working really well to the point where then sometimes like it would kind of like, I don't know, be too easy for me, or I'd end up being too lazy with it. Right. So I decided to try something else, which is what I do now, actually, which still pretty much effectively helps my day out as well, which is what I do is kind of time block. And the specific thing that I use for this is because, there's so many different softwares out there. I just use Google Calendar, right? There's Notion Calendar, which is new, right? There's Notion Calendar. There's other calendars that you could ever do. There's the Motion Calendar. There's the AI calendars. And there's all the other things that could ever add more productivity to your lives and all that jazz. In all honesty, I would get overwhelmed by seeing how many different options that I could really use. So I just had to stick with something that's really simple, which is something that we all typically have, a Google account and a Google Calendar, which is free for everyone to use. And in there, like I just pretty much just set up, hey, I'm going to be using this time to do my morning devotionals, to do my morning routine. Then I plan on going to the gym around this time, right? Then I start work about this time. Then here's where I take my lunch break. This is where I got to bath my dog, right? And then I'm doing all these other things throughout the day, right? And then I plan out what I want to do in the afternoon. And this is what I do like in the beginning of the morning or like even the day prior, right? To just write some things out, to give some structure to my day. And in all honesty, like it has helped a lot, because there's definitely times where, let's say you're at work or let's say you're just at home, right? And you want the day to be not the most productive thing in the world, right? Because like we're not all meant to be productive at 100% time, 100% of every single day, right? But there's still like, I want to get some things done today, I want to get some things done around the house. I want to get some things done to like maybe some creative project that you're working on or whatever the case is, right? But a lot of times we don't kind of keep ourselves accountable to that. We're just figuring out like, oh, I think I should do this right now. Oh, I think I should do this right now. But then maybe that thing takes longer than you expected. Then you're just like tired, and you knew you had probably another thing you wanted to do, but you then end up not doing it because you just gave into something that was easier to do. And hopping on to like what I was mentioning last week, which is like instilling that sense of urgency into yourself. This actually helps me a lot because like when I have a time block, right? I have just like an hour just to dedicate to making content or thinking of ideas, right? It gives me a sense of urgency, meaning like, okay, my time block is coming up. What am I doing right now? If I'm not doing anything, then it's like, okay, at this point, I will stop probably watching YouTube and then start sitting down and waiting for ideas to come, or like start generating ideas in some simple way, right? And in that time block, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do this for this set amount of time. And then once that's over, I'm done. And if I want to keep going over, if I don't have anything like super pending right after, then fine, I can continue doing that. But it just, I'm having the sense of urgency, like, no, I have to get this done within this time, right? Forces you to take action, and also to just like, even if you're not feeling it, right? Even having just like that small sense of accountability to you, like on your screen and on your phone, right? Having that small sense of accountability is like, okay, I don't feel like doing this right now, but I said I would do this. So you start doing the actions, right? A lot of times for the gym, for instance, you don't want to go to the gym, but you know you should, and you made a plan to, and you made a time block for it. And then at that point, you're like, okay, I got to go to the gym. I said here I would go to the gym. I don't want to, but I left to the gym, right? You get to the gym, and at that point, you're not really feeling like you want to leave anymore, because you know you're at the gym already. You're like, oh, well, I might as well work out, right? Something as small as that, because action always creates, like, there's a quote that I've heard before. I don't know who the heck it's from, but it's pretty catchy, that emotions are pretty much just energy in motion, right? And the way you get that kind of energy, right, that you get from your emotions is if you already are acting out in motion, that you're moving around. And actions create emotions, not emotions. Typically, the emotions that you don't want to partake in and the actions that you don't want to be part of, like, for instance, for me personally, that was addictions, that was like temptations and all this different jazz, right? The emotions that would turn into actions, right, weren't necessarily the ones that I always wanted to be a part of. But the actions that I did want to take, that I didn't have the emotions for, like, I needed to start doing them before I could actually start feeling like doing them, right? Because motivation is very much a limiting factor for most of us at the end of the day, because we're not all motivated at the same time every day for everything that we're doing. But if we have certain actions that we're doing and that we know that they're pretty important to us, right? Then once we start doing them, we actually feel like doing them more, right? When I went to the gym this morning, I was tired. I didn't really want to go. It felt so good to go back to sleep. But I went anyway. I saw my fiance there. We got to work out together. We got a really good workout. My shoulders are killing me right now. Not really, and it was really, really good. And I felt really, really great afterwards, but not initially. And just having this small, even scheduling system that you could probably implement in your own life is something so small, so small, that actually can make a huge difference in your own life, in the life that you want to have for yourself. And that just really comes down to, like, because there's all these different tips and tricks that you could ever hear from anyone else on the planet, right? Because there's like millions of YouTube videos being posted every single day. And for the 10 people who want to watch this, thank you so much. And but out of all those tips, right, it really just comes down to this. What's the life that you want to build for yourself or for your future family? Because that's the thing that actually matters. Because if you're taking all these tips from other people who don't necessarily have lives that you technically want, whether it's like these people are really good in corporate, right? They live a comfortable life. They have a wife, a spouse, whatever, 3 kids, a dog, whatever. If that's the life that you want, then look at those people and take the tips and tricks and the hacks or whatever the case is, like from their life, and start to implement it in yours. But if you want your life to look a little different, like for me, I'm more entrepreneurial. So I like starting businesses, and I like coming up with different ideas and starting on my own things like that. And I'm very much in that different type of mindset. And so my life is definitely going to look a lot different from what typically a lot of people want. So then I got to actually look at what are the things I want to implement in my life to actually get closer to that, to the life that I actually want, and the life that I know God has put in my heart to go towards. And for me, scheduling out my days, that's definitely a key one. Because first of all, it keeps me away from temptation, addictions, all that jazz. As well as it adds more urgency to my life, as well as it keeps me reminded of the things that I know I should do, and then I actually do them. And I don't let them sit, right, and do nothing about them. And it helps out a ton. So if you haven't tried Google Calendar or Notion Calendar or whatever the frick you want to do, because it really doesn't matter, just as long as you get a calendar or something that organize your day, right? I'll go ahead and encourage you to try it. Because try it out for a day, try it out for a week, right? And you don't have to go super hard and like planning every single minute, because that's pretty overwhelming even for me. But I would just be like, okay, I'm just setting out an hour to, let's say if you want to make content, go ahead and make content. If you're setting in an hour to go on a date, go on a date, right? And if it goes over, it goes over. It's a date. Have fun, right? But just setting out these different time blocks. And then it'll be so much easier. Like if people tend to invite you to things, then you're just like, okay, well, let me check my calendar real quick. Sounds really cheesy to say, because people started to get offended once I started saying that. And I had to kind of like dole them down. I'm like, no, this is how I remember things. But once I started doing that, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm actually free on Saturday afternoon. I can give you a much clearer, detailed like place where like I'm open to actually doing that, and I actually hang out with these people, because I'm more of a. This has definitely helped me get more into being more of a person who actually follows up as well, because once someone invites me to something or says that we should hang out, right? I go ahead and put it in my calendar. Now that sounds stupid and cheesy for a 22-year-old guy to do, but I actually do it. And then guess what? I make sure that we're actually hanging out, because I'm not flaking, because I didn't double book. I didn't put something else in there and like, oh shoot, I forgot I was going to hang out with this guy this afternoon. No, I actually go hang out with these people. And the only time that I would really flake is really I have a family emergency or have something I need to take care of. And in most cases, the person that I'm actually trying to hang out with because they wanted to hang out with me, they're the ones flaking, because they double booked. They didn't really have their time organized. But for me, I know for me, if anyone wants to meet with me, for sure, I'm going to meet with them. And like, there's barely any chance that I'm actually going to flake out. Because like, oh, I'm too tired or whatever the case is like it. Like, no, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to follow through. And that's something you don't a lot of times see, especially in the world of young people. I'll tell you for that for sure. They'll just let you go and be like, oh, sorry, well, I'm too tired right now, or whatever the case is, right? That, like, in all honesty, I really don't let my energy tank, I guess you could say, stop me from hanging out with certain people that I've already committed to hanging out with. Because in all honesty, like, I'm just imagining how the other person's feeling, right? Because they said they wanted to hang out with me, whether to add value to me or just to see me or whatever the case is, and I want to add value to them because I want to see them and whatnot. And in most cases, I'm just like, unless I'm sick, unless I'm like dead sick and I can't actually move, then I'm going to be like, hey, look, I'm feeling really bad today. I can't go. I'm so sorry. Let's find another time. While other people, and you probably experienced it before, that they're just going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm not feeling great today. It's like, oh, are you sick? No, like I'm just really tired. And this might be just a take. I honestly feel pretty disrespected because of that. Because, first of all, this person most likely asked for my time, right? because they wanted to hang out with me because I love them, whatever the case is, right? That doesn't matter. But then it doesn't seem that important, right? At that point, because given the context that they've given me, that I'm just seeing like, oh, like, okay, just because you're tired, like, I'm tired too, but I'm still willing to see you, right? I get work can be a tough day, sure. But also at the same time, like these people would know every time that we do see each other, we do get a lot more refreshed and it's a lot better. And I'm willing to sacrifice my own comfortability to actually see you. That's it for me. And I know this is different for everybody, right? And I'm not taking like personal offense to this or whatever, but I'm just more like, okay, that kind of shows me who you are a little bit. Because if I didn't have my time as organized as this, and obviously they didn't have it either, then at that point, if they were actually going to go ahead and follow through with what they said they wanted to do with me, then at that point, like, oh, you valued my time and I value your time. So like, let's actually do this and have a great time. Rather than like, oh, I'm going to keep you waiting. And then until the very last second, I'm a flake. Because I'm not comfortable. Because I want to do this, even though like, whatever the whole relationship is. And that's obviously different from different relational real estate that people have with you, right? If they're really close friends with you, that's, at least for me, if they're really close friends with me, like, I can understand certain things, especially if something's going on, right? But if it's just like, oh, I'm just tired, I'm like, bro, come on. You know, every time we hang out, like, it's not that difficult, in all honesty. And I'm willing to sacrifice my comfortability to just hang out with you because I love you. And if they're not willing to do that either, then it's just like, okay, I got you. And that's just like more of a pushback. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, I got you. Because I'm more of the person, and this is different for everybody. No knock on them, really. But it's like, I'm more of the person to follow through when it comes to these situations. And this is what scheduling has really helped me get to. Because before, like, I would do that and be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Now, I don't forget. Because I have it on my calendar. And I have alarms kind of going off. And it's like, oh, shoot, I did have that today. I totally forgot. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad for that. Then I go ahead and text them, hey, are we still good for this today? And blah, 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 blah. And whatever the case is, right? And so that's just one thing that has not only increased my productivity, but also, now that I'm actually thinking about it and just talking about this to you, right? I'm actually noticing that it has improved a lot of my relationships and just the intentionality with me and them too. Because when a person says that they want to hang out, they may remember, maybe I don't, but that's the reason why I put it in my calendar, so that I will remember. And I don't leave them hanging. And I don't flake because it was due to my irresponsibility. Like, that's on me, right? If I totally forget that we're hanging out, even if I had a really busy day, that's on me because I forgot. Because I didn't manage my time well and I didn't remind myself. Because if I truly valued the person I was going to meet, I would make the effort to try and remind myself. I would make the effort to set something up so that's like, okay, I know in the morning, I know after work, yeah, I got to hang out with this person. I got to do whatever the case is, right? And this is not relating to any kind of situation that I've been through, really. This is just what I've seen, and these are just my thoughts. Because if I truly value certain people, I'm going to make in the effort. And that's what I kind of expect from other people. I don't know. That's relationships and whatever the case is. But I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. And I hope this kind of added some value to you, at least, so that you can become more intentional. So that you can become more organized and probably more productive as well. Because I know we all want to get to the point where we're fulfilled with the things that we're doing and also using our time wisely as well. And this is something that has helped me tremendously get to that point. And so I hope it helps you. And if you like the video, I guess like it, right? Or subscribe or whatever the case is. I don't really care, to be honest. But if you did watch it, and I love you, I really do. And I appreciate you listening to these rants and whatever. And they'll get better. You know, I'm trying to get better. Probably not. I'm not as concise as this one, but I'll be concise a little bit more later. or at least better delivering these kind of stories. But that's all it, really. I love you guys. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye bye.